Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 21 of the Hungry People Podcast, the hungriest podcast in America. It is your boy, Michael Patrick Buckley, and I'm here with my phenomenal co-host, the knowledgeable, the one and only AJ Daika. On today's episode, AJ and I are going to free flow our way into talking about juice fasting. Let's get it, baby. AJ, take it away, my man. What's going on?
What's up, MP? How you doing?
Phenomenal, man.
Good to hear. Yeah. So before we jump into all things juice feasting, juice fasting, and that type of cleansing, today's sponsor is the Woodstock Fruit Festival. Hey guys, if you want to meet us, if you guys want to ride bikes, eat fruit, be in a community of healthy individuals who are looking to learn more about this way of living in an environment that is friendly, comforting, and full of fitness, Woodstock 2022 is the place to be in Diamond Point, New York. Be sure to come there, hang out with us. It's going to be so much fun. There's going to be a lot of different vegan YouTubers as well as educators there. And like I said, if you use the code HungryPeople with a capital H and P, you'll save $100 off your first time. It's a week-long event. We're going to be camping. There's bonfires, and you can also get cabins. So it's a great time. MP and I had the time of our lives this year, as well as the previous years for me. And I'm looking forward to 2022. And it's like the main event of the year. It's the WrestleMania, if you will, or the Super Bowl of raw veganism. So check it out. Anyway, let's get into it, MP. Let's talk about juice feasting. Give us some of the ideas of what we're going to be going over today, some of the outline.
Yeah. So I definitely want to talk about why would somebody want to do a juice fast? Kind of talk about maybe the benefits of a juice fast, but also the consequences, because there are some consequences of juice fasting. Maybe getting into some discussion on what kind of juice to drink. You know, should you be drinking fruit juice? Should you be drinking more vegetable juices? Should you drink water while you're on a juice fast? What else?
Our thoughts on breaking fasts, our thoughts on
yes,
how to get support if you are doing it, or how to educate yourself so that to see if you even should do it.
Totally.
And our experience as well, because we've both had a lot of experience with this, and we're going to share our honest and open hearts and opinions. So please keep an open mind, because what we're saying, we're not going to go in and say how amazing juice fasting is. We're going to show you what we think is really great about it, some of the potential problems. So hopefully you can make an informed decision, and an informed decision so that it works best for you.
Totally. Awesome. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this discussion. I mean, I love just talking about all of this amazing stuff in general. I just love talking about it. I mean, that's obviously why we have a podcast, and I'm really excited for this one. For sure. I feel like we've been waiting a while to talk about juice fasting.
We have.
And honestly, I'm kind of out of that like juice fasting phase. I don't really see too many people being like, oh, I'm going on a 30-day juice fast, or I'm doing a 60-day juice fast. But recently I have occasionally seen some people saying that they're doing like weekend juice fasts, like 2 to 3 days. I might have seen like one person say that they're doing like a 30-day juice fast. I think actually someone DM'd me. They said that they're on like day 12 of the juice fast. Because I've been drinking celery juice every morning. Today's day 20, and that's awesome. But anyways, let's get into it. Cool. So do you want to talk about like why someone would want to go on a juice fast? Is that
yeah, sure. And let's keep it for you and I. Let's keep it shorter so that we can kind of have a lot of back and forth, because I feel like this discussion is best done with having each other's input instead of just running on monologues like I know I tend to do. So feel free to interrupt and put your voice in there too.
I mean, I love hearing you talk. So
who doesn't? Okay. Anyway, who would want to juice feast? I mean, the idea is, the whole background behind it really is to cleanse out the GI tract so that you can have a better state of health, whether that's the removal of toxins, the removal of built up waste in your body, also just give your digestive system a break and flood yourself with a lot of hydration and nutrients so that you can enter a better state of health. And I know that John Rose and a few other people say it's kind of like you don't put new wine in an old wineskin, meaning if you just try to put all this fruit in your body after eating years of garbage, you might have more issues because of all the combinations that are sitting in there, all the built up mucus or plaques or whatever people are claiming is in there. So it's really kind of like a jump start into a potential better way of living. And I would, MP, do you have anything to expand on that?
No.
Why someone would do it?
Yeah, no, totally.
Overcome
So
diseases and things like that.
right. So what I've learned over my time of, searching on the internet and reading and even listening to people talk, the biggest reason why someone would want to go, or I guess should be going on a juice fast, is to heal some kind of issue that they're dealing with. Like maybe it might be an issue that a doctor says that they can't ever cure. You hear a lot of people talk about like, oh, I went to my doctor, they said they can't cure this, and then they cured it 6 months later. Maybe even doing a juice fast, or maybe doing some other kind of healing modality. But I feel like that's a big reason as to why someone would want to go on a juice fast, is to heal a certain disease. And a lot of also too, what I've learned is that they'll say that like juice fasting is like it's kind of like a speed up. It's a way to, I know you said kickstart, but it's almost like someone, I think John Rose even said it where he's like, you can be raw vegan for 2 years, or you can just go to juice fast for 2 months and it's like, it's almost like the healing process speeds up. But I can't really say that I agree with that at this point in time. I mean, for some specific issues that could potentially be, maybe you do have a digestive issues, or maybe you really are extremely constipated. Like definitely like juice fasting can most certainly speed that process up. But for other issues, I mean, I don't even know if juice fasting necessarily is the right answer. Long-term juice fasting too.
Okay, yeah. So why don't we jump into why we did it, to make it clear the mindset we had going into it and the reasons we did, because we were trying to overcome some potential issues.
Yeah, totally.
Right. So for me, I might have mentioned this before on the podcast. I'll sum it up really quickly. The only time I intuitively fasted was before I ever got into detox. I was already raw vegan. I was paying attention to what I ate and how it made me feel, but I had really bad inflammation in my wrist, arthritis type symptoms. And it was like throbbing. It hurt so bad to where it didn't even want to really eat, because I would notice whenever I'd eat, it would become worse. So intuitively, I went on those Lakewood pineapple and mango juices, those organic ones that are like $7 each. At the time, I think they were $5 each.
So good.
Now they're more expensive, but I was doing at least 2,000 calories a day from that juice. I did it for 3 days, and I just noticed how the inflammation was going down, right? And I'm in a mindset where I'm trying to eat as many calories as possible. I was following Harley then, so I was like not trying to do a prolonged fast of any sort. I was just in that much pain. So fast forwarding on the third day, I wasn't taking any supplements, no psyllium pudding, no husk, none of that, no charcoal. And on the third day, something really wicked did come out of my bowels, and it was like one of the best feelings I ever had in my whole life. And I remember driving, I was driving from the town I was living in to where I was working. And I just literally pulled over halfway in between and just ran to work as fast as I could. Like I had so much energy, even though I was eating less calories, right? Because it's all about calories for the energy.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there is some truth in us storing some of these, I don't know what they are, these toxins or these metals or this pollution or this saturated fat. Like the fat is what holds on to a lot of these things. So yeah, my experience from listening to my body, which is the big takeaway, and ending it when I felt like it was a great place to end it, seemed to give me the best results. And that was my first introduction to juice fasting. How about you?
Yeah, that's great, AJ. And I think doing that is ideal, because I know we said it before, but people, they'll say, oh, I'm going 30 days, I'm going 60 days, when their body doesn't need that. Their body isn't asking for that, but they're still doing it anyways.
Right.
But if they actually would listen to their body, and it's like, maybe it's day 12 or 13, and they're like, wow, like all I'm thinking about is food, then eat, but yeah, so for me, myself, I think you've had more experiences with juice fasting, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Maybe.
Have you? I'm asking.
We're about to find out. I don't know. I don't know how many you've had.
Because I didn't know if I should talk about all my experiences here. But
no, I'm going to talk about a few more. So
okay, great. Yeah. More. So my first one was a 20-day juice fast, and it was like all different kind of juices, like apple, lemon, ginger juice, which is like awesome. Like carrot juices, tangerine juice, orange juice, just all different kind of juices. But honestly, I know for a fact that I did not drink enough juice. I think
How
I did
much were you drinking?
dude, I mean, I might have been like a gallon in a maybe a gallon and a quarter, I think. Maybe like a little more if I could take it, but I honestly for me at least, I don't think I was drinking enough. I think I needed to be at least at 2 gallons of juice. That's like I feel like for people like us who were, I mean, we eat a lot of calories, we're active, we're busy. I definitely think that like 2 gallons is
Well,
like
if you're
the
incorporating
minimum.
exercise, that's always going to up it.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So you have
Yeah,
to take that
totally.
in consideration. If you're just kind of sitting at home, maybe you're walking and things, maybe a gallon's enough or
Right.
whatever. But if you're working out, I think that changes the game.
Right. Well, that's also just a sidetrack here. If you are juice fasting, technically speaking, shouldn't you be resting in general? I mean, people will they probably will go work out. They probably will go run. Look, hey, I'm doing this. It's the fastest I've ever ran. I'm on a juice fast. Like I think there are people out there who are doing that, but at the same time, you could argue that this is the best time to be resting if you are juice fasting. If you are, I was gonna say water fasting, but this is about juice fasting. So if you are juice fasting, that's the best time to rest.
So were you resting?
Yeah, no, not. I mean, I was, because honestly, my head, it just felt like so. What's the word? I just felt like I was in a daze. I just like I just didn't have everything there. I just didn't feel like under control. I felt like kind of like I was high, honestly. Like I felt good, and I had pretty good energy, just kind of like
space cadet.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I mean, no, seriously, I was.
Yeah, I know.
But I didn't have I had absolutely zero motivation to go to the gym, to go work out, to exercise, to do anything. My sex drive wasn't there at all. I mean, I might have had like a little bit of libido, but not really.
Did you notice if you felt better in any ways? Like, oh, I had this improved though.
I mean, dude, I mean, my skin was flawless. Dude, even when I was raw vegan in general, I mean, my skin was just, dude, it was like softer than a baby's bottom. Like,
I remember when I started incorporating banana smoothies and I'd come into work and people were like, oh my God, your skin looks so beautiful. I mean, when you're going from a Cheez-Its diet and a chicken finger diet to banana smoothies, you're going to see a profound effect in your hydration levels, which shows in your skin.
Right.
For you, it was the juices.
Yeah, totally. And then I broke with the prunes, the John Rose style. And I think he talks about how
better to do the watermelon.
We can debate he talks that later. About how if you see the prunes in your stool within 3 hours, then like you're pretty clean. And I mean, on this,
I disagree with that.
I mean, on this juice fast, like I had some days where I was like explosive poop.
Right, you run to the bathroom every 20 minutes,
because for me and myself, it was more about like cleaning out my body and the cleansing and helping like a certain issue to see if it would like clear up for good, but it didn't clear up for good. But yeah, it was, for me, it was definitely more of like a cleaning out my body. And I think it was evident that like, I mean, my skin was clear as day. I do maybe there is some validity to that, and like our skin not being so clear and pure because maybe we do have like too many, maybe we're true backed up or we have too many toxins in us or whatever.
Well, I mean, like, just
there could be some validity to that.
No, of course. I mean, even the people who are like so pro calories, I don't think we can ignore the fact that there's huge benefits, even if there is potential negatives that come along with it. I mean, you're going to experience certain things that are just profoundly more like me with the joint pain. I don't remember how great my libido was. I don't remember, XYZ, because my main pain point was being addressed. And that was the whole point of it. Right. So I think that it's completely valid to say that your skin was improving because your body was getting some sort of relief. I mean, who knows exactly how to pinpoint what was going on with you, but there's definitely a positive side to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So how about you? Do you have any more experiences with juice fasting?
Yeah, I have two more. So if I don't know, do you have one or two more? Or...
I've actually done, technically speaking, I know it sounds funny. I actually juice fasted the other day for one day.
I did too. So I'm going to get into that.
I did a 1 day juice fast. So I've done technically I've done 4. I talked about 1. I've done 4, technically speaking.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about 2 more because I've done little periods here and there, but I'm going to talk about the 2 more main ones. So the big one was when I was really skinny, right? For people that know me from Woodstock or my friends, it was 2018. I'm 6 foot. I was 120 pounds when I started the fast. I didn't lose the weight from the fast. I'm sure I lost more muscle and more collagen and things, but I did what's known as 38 days of the master fast system, which I do think we should do an episode on, or I could always do a separate video on for hungry people, because I think it's an important topic. But
yeah, I would love to be there on that episode.
Yeah. Essentially, it's cooked grape juice with fresh lemon. And then you're doing all sorts of things like herbs. You're doing colonics or enemas. It's like a really intense, powerful one. And it's funny because at the time I was trying to weigh the options between following Phil from Puradyme, who's Lou Crona's brother, his advice, or doing the master fast. And ideally I wanted to do the Puradyme, even though I was new to the whole, that way. I was more about fruit forever, like fruit and fruit cleansing and Robert Morse and stuff. But I wanted to do the Puradyme stuff. I just didn't know how to make it was so much effort, and I was already so sick and broke that I wasn't that confident. So I jumped on to doing the master fast because it's like I could just go buy everything I need and I'm set for a month.
It's
easy. Very simple.
Yeah.
And my experience was after I think it was the 5th day, my throat started to close up. And it was kind of hard to talk. And I remember I was with my ex at the time, and we just went for a walk, and I wasn't freaking out. And I noticed that the roof of my mouth was raw, it was being burned from the juice. I don't know if it was the acids being released or the juice was just so sugary or so astringent or whatever it is. But my mouth was ripped up. It was literally like scabs.
Wow.
And my throat was closing up. Not to where I couldn't breathe, but I couldn't really talk. My voice was like that. So I remember I messaged, because they have a group on Facebook, and I said, what should I do? And they said, start your weekly dry fast, because your body's been taking in all of that juice and everything's kind of being purged at once. You need to give your bowels even a break from just taking in all that, and your kidneys. So I started a dry, and then by the time I woke up the next day, it had been 14 hours, it was completely gone. And I felt something about my throat was so much better, because I always felt this, when you have a shirt that's a little tight and you're you just want to stretch it out, because it's it's not choking you, but just even the sensation of having something there is really uncomfortable. And I kind of felt like that was relieved. I had this pressure in my neck that I wasn't even aware of, and that was kind of gone. So it was pretty cool, right?
And that was because of the dry fast, right?
Well, I mean, it was because of the whole thing, but I think that having the dry incorporated into that, it's a whole system. I don't think it works separately. If I just did a dry, I don't think it would have worked.
Gotcha.
So one of the things I was noticing is my tongue was purple from the grape juice, which we would all think, yeah, of course, you're having fucking grape juice, it's going to be purple. But the interesting thing was, I was starting to notice by day 10 that pieces of the purple tongue were starting to become pink, kind of like a puzzle missing a piece, right? And it's what the heck? So I'm drinking more juice. I noticed the next day after I wake up, brush my teeth, there's even less purple. It's just pink. And I think it was by day 13 that my tongue was completely clear, completely pink. It didn't matter if I was drinking the recommended gallon or I was drinking more. It was just pink. And I completely felt so at peace. I was so calm. I didn't have all the fight or flight. I didn't have the anxiety. So there was clearly something there. There's completely validity in the sense that whether it's candida, whether it's mucus, whether it's toxins, whatever, something was improving. And it shows in your biology, right? You don't smell at all. You have no body odor at all. But again, let's look at the negatives. You also have no sex drive. Right. So it comes with these positives and negatives. Right. And depending upon where your pain points are is how worthy it is of your time and attention.
Mhm.
So I'm on day 14. I'm like, okay, I'm going for walks. It's 100 degrees out and I feel completely fine, even though I'm dry fasting and things. Like I just felt I could breathe the first time in a while and some positive things, right? But just like all of us have probably experienced in some type of detoxing world, I made some mistakes from there on where I kind of caught up in life and started doing things and let my dry fast go on too long to where I started feeling really, really sick and my heart started racing. And then when you're in a state of panic, you don't break your dry fast as appropriately as if you felt good. You kind of rush it because you're trying to hydrate. And then it's like you take on too much sugar at once. And I kind of threw my system back into a state of like paranoia and fight or flight and all that kind of stuff. So then I kind of like inched my way back again to about day 30. And I was just about to call it there because I'm like, all right, it's still like, I need to eat them. I'm already watching tons of food videos. I'm on YouTube watching people eat all kinds of vegan stuff. And then I think it was day 30. I did see something really big come out of me. Now, I was doing enemas the entire time. They recommend at least 6 liters a day, which is a lot of enemas. And, but this was the first time I had like what people would refer to as the serpent, the snake, whatever. I mean, it could have just been a buildup of the psyllium pudding husk that you take every day, the charcoal pudding, because it looks similar. I have no clue. I don't know if it's like it is that, but then toxins are attached to it. But I tell you, when I released that, I did notice a big difference in kind of my personality. I don't know, that doesn't really make sense because I do think personalities are set, but I just began this humbleness that I've never had before. And I started to change the way that I interacted with people and kind of really releasing them from my interpreted way of living, like releasing them, meaning the people around me, like my family, my girlfriend. I didn't want them to live in the way that I thought was right anymore. I want to do what was right for them, despite what it meant for me. And it did kind of screw myself in a couple different ways, but I could just see that there was more. I had more. What is the word? I just felt like a better person.
Well, didn't you say
it wasn't even
that your ego, you totally lost your ego?
It felt like my ego dropped like 80% or more. Like I still have some ego, right?
We all do.
But I was able to distinguish more truth from ideology. Oh, this might be the better way, but it's not the better way if you can't do it, right? Starting to think like that, starting to realize, hey, people don't make bad decisions because they're bad people. They just might not have all the info or have all the tools or have the same reactions you do.
Right.
And it made me a lot more humble to people suffering because, hey, we all definitely suffer. We all have challenges, and who the hell am I to tell people what to do? And I dropped the whole thing where I think everyone should listen to how I the whole vegan or
like eat this way,
everyone's doing it wrong.
Way. Yeah,
everyone's doing it wrong. It's because you didn't eat enough calories. It's because you didn't eat enough meat. It's because you didn't drink enough juice. It's like, no, there's way more nuance to it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I learned it. It's like I felt it. So I'm almost done here wrapping this up.
Oh, gotcha. Go ahead. No, go ahead. You
sure?
Yeah. I don't want you to forget.
So, no, I'm not. I live like this is burned into my memory. It was an intense time. I mean, it was the most intense time my whole life. So
wow.
I think from then on, it was just getting better again, kind of like it did that original time. And it was feeling good. I remember my sleep. I wanted to go to bed by 7 or 8, and I was just so exhausted. And I know a lot of people say, well, I have more energy. For me, I've always been an anxious person who needs more rest and who can never calm down. So this was like a blessing. It's like I'm out and I'm not waking up. I'm not waking up to pee. I'm just sleeping, and it feels awesome. And then, of course, I think it was day 35, my ex broke up with me, and that just put me into a depression, and I couldn't even drink the juice. And I was going to do a car trip across the United States, go to Canada, the Canada Fruit Fest. Halfway through Ted Carr's festival, halfway through, I asked them to just drop me off at the nearest airport. I just had to go home. I mean, I was just destroyed. I'm juice fasting on the road. I feel awful. I look awful.
Who are you
113 pounds. There's 2 guys, James something. He was been at Arnold's Way and somebody else.
Okay.
But anyway, I fly home. I break before I get to the airport. I break with a melon, and then I have mangoes, and then I go on the flight. And for the first time in my life, I expected to have anxiety, and I didn't have any anxiety at all.
Wow.
So it's like, oh, there's one of those little hidden pros about it, right? Like something was so much more stable about me, but only in that way, because when it came to emotions, I was a wreck. I was completely a wreck. I cried 50 times a day, and everything upset me.
Wow.
So I did 38 days. Yeah. And then that's kind of how I eventually reached out to Dan McDonald, or I went to Woodstock actually from there. And then I went and reached out to Dan McDonald, and the rest is history. But that was my long one. That was the only time I did something like that big. And I would say that I did learn so much about life and myself from it, but I cannot deny how many negative things resulted in that. I mean, I lost my job. That's the one where in the video we did a Hungry People podcast where I say I detoxed my girlfriend, my house.
Yeah, I was gonna say you lost your girlfriend.
That was that time, you know. I mean, my self-respect, but it also did humble me in a way that, like Light Samps said, I wouldn't trade for anything, because it really opened my eyes to, you know, how insignificant my view is on the actual reality of what's going on. It's not what I think isn't important. It's that my way is not the only way.
Right. Yeah. AJ, what a story, dude. I was actually really enjoying just sitting there and listening to what you say. But yeah, what's up?
You're too kind.
What I was going to say was that I feel like it can be so tough to juice fast in an environment that isn't allowing you to juice fast.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're around your friends and they're all partying and stuff, going out having a good time, and they're all going out to eat, and your family your family is going out to eat, all this kind of stuff. I just feel like it's so much harder to do a juice fast. Like it's better to be in an environment that allows you to not only sustain the juice fast, but allows you to get your best results. And I mean, like, you can even say, oh, going to a clinic or going to like someone's retreat. I don't know. Maybe they have, like, do they even do that anymore? Not even sure. They might.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
But even still, like, if you, let's say you went to True North and juice fasted, I mean, even still, I've heard of people having experiences that weren't the best from even doing something like that, you know? So it can really be so hard to tell when and where and why to do a juice fast. It really can be.
Right.
But yeah, AJ, I will say the experiences that I have with juice fasting, I can't get into that much detail whatsoever at all. I mean, I'm so impressed with how you remember all of that, like, day to day. And I actually wrote down some stuff that happened with me day to day, but it was more or less like just talking about how many bowel movements I had, if I even had a bowel movement, like what I drank.
Kind of like John Rose.
Yeah. I have here that I drank 355 ounces of watermelon juice and 36 ounces of watermelon cayenne pepper juice. I was on day 10, which is like, that's a lot of juice. Actually, that's like,
it's 2 gallons, right?
Yeah, that's a gallon over. Is 128. So this is like almost 3 gallons, maybe, or like 2.
Wow.
It's like 2.5, I guess. But like the thing with watermelon juice is that it's like, there's like no caloric density at all in watermelon juice. It's just like straight water.
It's not even just that. It just goes down so easily.
Oh yeah.
That you suck it down fast. I don't think it's just a calorie thing.
Right. So on this juice fast, clearly on my second one, this is the one I went 30 days on, or maybe 29 I have here. I thought I went 30, but maybe it was 29, whatever. I was drinking a lot more juice, but once again, like, this juice, it's not as dense. So you definitely need a lot more. And a lot of it was watermelon juice. Cause I think Leo and I know, we were kind of doing like a watermelon juice fast together. And I think Leo actually ended up going like 80 some days on it, which is
really,
like, I think so. I think so.
That's why he's so woke.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that. But a lot of what I can remember from this juice fast was dude, I sat at my desk when I was working, and all I did was listen to ASMR videos of people eating. Like it didn't matter what. It was like
Right.
it was like people just eating chicken or eating burgers or eating pizza or just eating anything. It wasn't even like it was vegan ASMR, which actually I kind of want to get into that one day.
Well, just to interrupt for one
Yeah,
second,
please. Yeah.
I forgot to get into after day 30, I did start to not be interested in any vegan foods. I wasn't interested in rice. I wasn't interested in lentils. I wasn't like fruit was like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
I was so hungry that all I could watch was meat videos.
Wow.
I literally would watch, what's that vegan guy who stopped being vegan? He's fucking like 500 pounds now.
Oh,
Nikocado Avocado.
Yeah, Nikocado.
I was watching him. I was watching like all of these people. There's this Asian guy who would travel around the world eating like these burgers and these steaks and these sushis. And I was just obsessed with it. I was just watch it all day long. Yeah. And all I craved was all the foods from childhood, all the fast food, the McDonald's, the chicken fingers, all that stuff. And then you have to ask yourself a question. Is it because you're that starving that it's like you're thinking about what you know is dense and what you're familiar with? Or is it like because you're killing off those parasites, right? Like it's to identify that, because calories didn't seem that interesting to me. It was just meat.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I don't think we're ever going to know the answer to that. And people can sit here and argue all day, but the only fact of the matter is that that's what you wanted. You wanted the meat or whatever. You wanted the burger. You wanted what that guy was eating. Yeah. Like who cares what the reason is? I mean, like obviously it might play a factor, but that's kind of how I see it though. There's like, we can't just keep saying why for something like that. Like that's what you wanted.
Yeah. I think that's what sets you and I apart from most people, because everyone's going to claim that they know it's because meat is the best, or they know it's because they're killing the parasites, where you and I are humble enough to say, we don't know. This is what we think. This is what we fucking think. But that's kind of where I'm talking about, where the ego died off around like, okay, yeah, I don't really know.
Even with even this like stuff that I've been learning, it's like maybe it's a mineral issue. Maybe it's a blood sugar issue. It's not only just a parasite issue, which is what everyone claims it to be.
Your thyroid, all these things.
Right. There was something there's something I want to say, but I totally forget. Anyways, I'll just kind of get back into what I was saying, even though I don't have much more on my 29-day juice fast. But it was kind of similar. Like I wasn't working out at all. Like honestly, I wouldn't say I was like malnourished, but I was definitely skinnier, and people could tell I was definitely skinnier, definitely lost weight. I think I might've been down to like 170, maybe like 165, which is like the lowest I've ever been. I'm usually around like 180, 185 in college.
Yeah, you're a big guy.
Yeah, in college, I was up to 200 pounds. Like I was dude, I was stacked. I was big in college. Like even looking at me now, it's just totally different.
You look like a fucking gorilla.
Well, I even remember like looking back at old pictures and I'm like, damn, because I was like pretty lean too. And I was cut up, but dude, you could tell like I was heavy. I was muscled up, dude. Like I was muscled up. And I honestly kind of want to get to that point, but I don't want to weigh that much. And B, I don't want to be like that big, but I definitely want to be like crazy muscular. That's definitely a goal of mine. And I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it. But yeah, so that was 30 days, nothing crazy. Like I said, just ASMR videos, watching that. That was the biggest factor that I remember, the biggest part of that juice fast that I remember. Clear skin again. And then I did another juice fast. I think in September, I write it down, but in September of my raw year. And it was just like a 6-day apple juice fast. And I think I might've added like lemon and ginger and whatnot. But I actually remember when I broke that, I was like so hungry. I had a salad that night. I didn't even like go like break it properly. I just wanted a salad. I wanted like sauerkraut, and I had like avocado. I mean, it's like this big like raw vegan salad, and it felt so good. But that's also something too, is that the binging after the juice fast. That's you. Like, I'm not gonna say it happens to everybody. I think there's some people out there who have great experiences and they don't binge, and they can handle themselves and they're in a good situation and they're stable and they don't do that. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not stable because I'm extremely stable. But for
Very
that point
stable.
in
That's why you're my co-host.
for that point in time, I wanted a salad so bad and I got it. It was probably because I wasn't drinking any green juice whatsoever
Right.
on any of these
You're just
fasts.
taking in sugar all day.
Yeah, legit, dude. I'm not kidding. I don't even know if I had a green juice. I mean, I mentioned I had apple romaine juice on one of my earlier juice fasts, but dude, I didn't have like any green juice, like barely any green juice. And I think that's definitely one of my biggest mistakes. And I think not drinking water was another one of my biggest mistakes. While juice fasting, just because we know the water is so important. And yeah. And people talk about like doing breath work and stuff. They're like, yeah, you can do breath work either. I don't know. Like maybe I messed up by not doing enough breath, maybe by doing any breath work at all. But I mean, honestly, I don't even want to say I don't even want to say that I messed up at all, but there's definitely stuff to improve on. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I think there's a tier of importance when it comes to like if you were juice feasting, it's like, okay, well, if you're juice feasting, the most important part is to drink the juice, right? So that's number one. Breath work is a number one. And then it's like, are you still getting sleep or are you crazy anxious? Because that should be number two. There's like a tier, like, yes, you probably would have got benefits from breath work.
Right.
I think meditation and breath work is pretty much a positive thing, but it's not because of the absence of these other things, right? It's the addition. It's an addition to what the main things that you need to do are. I think that's the takeaway.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. I also want to mention something here that I have written down because I wrote during my raw journey, I wrote a ton of points down of certain days and what happened and what I ate. And I wanted to mention this on 7/21. So July 21st of 2019. I wrote down, your boy got kidney filtration, all in capital letters and exclamation points. So there's obviously that, excuse me. In
the juice fast.
What? Yeah, right. I have my water here. We're good. In the world of Dr. Morse, they're really into the kidney filtration. And once again, I think AJ and I were kind of both in agreement on it where we definitely see it having potential benefits, but it can also there'd be consequences. Would you agree with that, AJ?
I think we should do a video just like we are now.
Yeah,
like
right.
A podcast on kidney filtration.
Right. Yeah, we can definitely do that. But one of my goals with all of this was getting kidney filtration, and I actually did. And I mean, you could say that the juice helped, maybe cleaning me out a little more. It definitely helped. But on that day, I was intermittent fasting for about 12 to 14 hours I have here. And I was eating like bananas, blueberries, mangoes, dates. I wasn't like doing anything crazy. I had a salad in the evening, and I got it. So it was actually like really exciting for me when I first got my first kidney filtration. Thank you. But yeah, and then I actually wanted to mention one more experience I've had recently. I was feeling a bit under the weather about a week and a half ago at this point. Yeah, about 9 days ago. I went to bed at like 4 a.m. I was out, and then I went to bed at like 2 a.m. the next night and didn't get much sleep. And I feel like that
animal.
Yeah.
So popular.
I feel like that played a part in not feeling well. And I was like just kind of achy, like pretty warm. And then that Monday I went to bed at like 8:30 and I slept for like 10 hours and I felt much better the next day. But that Tuesday, no lie, I actually juice fasted and I went and I bought, I had my celery juice in the morning and then I went and I had the Concord grape juice from Trader Joe's, like kind of like the Master Fast. And I did like Concord grape juice with lemon. And at that point I was just kind of like, I feel like I didn't even need anything. like I was already carved up from everything that I had before the day before. I felt full. Honestly, I felt satisfied. And I did it. Honestly, I think it helped. And I think that's like the best experience for me, and the best because we'll always say, oh, there's a time and place for this, there's a time and place for that. And for me, like, that was the time and place to do a juice fast, in my opinion. And I did it. And you could say that if I would have eaten, the same thing would have happened, but I didn't eat and I felt great the next day. So, yeah, that was just another experience that I've had.
Yeah, that one was more similar to mine with the wrist pain. You were like listening to yourself. You weren't like, I have to do this because I want to achieve this result. It's like, I know I'm going to feel better if I do this, and I'm going to do it. And then you stopped.
Yeah. And then the next day,
because you got what you wanted out of it.
Yeah, exactly. The next day, I got up, had my celery juice, and then I think I ate again. Probably bananas. Yeah, but do you want to kind of get into the snake a little bit? Is the snake real? Or did you have anything?
I just want to share one more experience that I had. I had a short 3-day cucumber juice fast. And previously I did the master fast, and I always did the sugar ray drinks. And I noticed that for me with the cucumber juice, it was like by far the easiest fast. I wasn't thinking about food. I wasn't chronically urinating. If you're someone who eats sugar, you chronically urinate all the time. I know that was me. I didn't have to worry about my bowels. They were moving fine. It wasn't like diarrhea, but it wasn't, constipating at all. I didn't have to do enemas. It was really lowered my inflammation. I was sleeping great every night by 8 o'clock. So for me, I know we're going to talk more about this, but it's like the green juice is much more preferred in my opinion.
Wow.
But there are people such as yourself, there's this woman that was interviewed, and she did like a 365 days on juice.
Oh yeah.
And
right.
She felt amazing doing it. And I think you have to pay attention to that. Some of you guys aren't going to metabolize the sugars as well. You're going to feel wonky and anxious, and you're not sleeping. So pay attention to that, because that was my big takeaway. I seen a DTM video, and he's like, drink cucumber juice and take enzymes. And I noticed I did that. And I noticed that was just the easiest. Like, it was a steady stream, kind of like when the paleo people or keto or carnivore people talk about how they live on, how they do the fat thing, and they have like a steady type of energy. And it kind of reminded me of that, where you're not having like to eat all day, starving all day, you're thinking about food all day. It was just emotionally even, it was just nice.
How much juice did you have?
I was only having like 3 liters a day, I think.
Wow. Dude, I feel like it's so tough because you don't get much juice from cucumber juice.
So for large ones, I think for 4 large cucumbers, I get about 1 liter. Yeah. See, you get more.
Yeah. Actually, before I asked about the snake, I don't even want to talk about that yet. But you mentioned, oh my gosh, it was on the tip of my tongue. But I want to talk about price, how expensive it is to juice fast. It's expensive. It's not cheap to juice fast. And then the bowel movements as well. Like I recently, so I told you guys that I've been doing the celery juice recently, and I'm not kidding. I think it was like day 3 or 4. Like the start of those that day for the next 2 to 3 days. I'm not kidding. I think I took like at minimum 25 or at minimum 20 poops within 3 days.
Christ.
Like legit. I could not stop going to the bathroom. That was only from drinking celery juice in the morning. Like just that. I wasn't like doing any fruit juice or anything. Like it was just the celery juice. It was insane. And I think it's funny because people will say that like watermelon juice or apple juice, even earlier I was saying like apple juice, apple lemon ginger, so cleansing, or orange juice, all these fruit juices, people will say that that's the most cleansing of the juices. And then I think some people, they can go straight to celery and they'll clean out like crazy just from drinking celery juice. But yeah, so my point of saying this is that when I was doing my juice fast, I was like already like fruit fasting and cleaning out and stuff. And that like the fruit juice definitely cleaned me out even more for sure. And then I went back and I did celery juice again. And not again, but I did celery juice for the first time, like back in my raw days. And I noticed like I wasn't really seeing any results. Like it wasn't cleaning me out as much as I thought it was going to, because I see people talking about the celery juice and whatnot all the time. But then recently, I feel like everything's changed for me because I'm not like doing as much fruit juice. I'm not doing as much cleaning. You know, yes, I'm still eating a lot of fruit, but more like bananas, so slower digesting fruits compared to like watermelon and mangoes, which could really speed up. That can really pass through you quickly. But so I feel like my body isn't as used to that like pulling of like so much fruit and so much juice. So now the celery juice has such a different effect on my body compared to how I was 2 years ago. Does that make sense? So like 2 years ago, I'm basically like only eating cleansing foods, and then the celery juice isn't doing much to me. But now I'm still like sort of eating some cleansing food, but not as much. Definitely eating more starch, more greens, you know, and the celery juice now is just like totally cleaning me out. AJ, I'm not kidding. I had oranges 3 days ago. Dude, I pooped them out that night. I ate them in the morning and I pooped them out that night. Like I saw that I saw it in my stool. I was like, that's crazy.
John Rose would be so proud.
Oh, he would be so proud of me. But then that also brings me out to another question, another point that I want to make is that like, is it even beneficial to be that clean? Is it? Because then you have food passing through you so much faster that you might not even be absorbing all the nutrition from the food.
Well, I think that's a twofold thing, because potentially, yeah, you might have it passing through you fast, but you also may, you know, the idea is you may actually absorb this stuff better. I remember rain. I mean, potentially they say when you clean out your gut, when you eat the sugars, now you actually can get the sugars into you.
That makes sense.
I do think fermentation is real. In my experience, if I eat a bunch of like starches and then I eat fruit, I bloat out. I feel like crap. I start, you know, having some of those fermentation issues. So I think that ideally you don't need to have the cleanest ever gut, but to not be backed up would be a nice thing, because I don't see how being backed up is beneficial. But I also don't think fruit should just run through you. Like it shouldn't spend a ton of time in you, but I don't think we should have explosive diarrhea 24/7. I remember Rain in 2019. We were talking about how I started, you know, shifting more out of fruit, and he was saying, because I was so skinny and stuff, and he was saying, "Oh wow, like did you go to the bathroom all the time?" And I was like, "No, I was constipated all the time." And he didn't even like know that was a thing on fruit. And I was like, "Yeah, like, for me, it was." Wow. So it's really hard to say. I think that I really like the point that you brought up though about, can you get too clean?
Yeah.
Now, I think that it's a yes and a no. If you say too clean, I think yes. If you say too healthy, I would say no. So what I mean by that is, I think someone can get so clean that they're going to have such powerful negative reactions to every little thing. Yeah, you go into a grocery store and someone has perfume. Yeah. You could be in panic attack for 3 hours, right? Yeah. You could go into someone's car, they have an air freshener. You could fight with a spouse or a family member. It's going to rock your whole world. Mm-hmm. It's going to shake you up so bad. So you could be so clean that, bringing back the point you made earlier about being in an ideal environment, the cleaner you are, the more sensitive you are to both chemicals and energies and people, the more time you're going to have to spend alone. I mean, that's just how it is. Yeah. If you're some kind of enlightened, mastered, sage, stable person who doesn't get affected by anyone, then you're probably fine. Mm-hmm. But if you are more sensitive, you're going to have to spend more time alone. You're going to enjoy your own company, but it's just part of it, right? If you're so clean and you get into a car accident and the medics are like giving you stuff to stabilize you, they could kill you because you are not used to any drugs at all. You have no fat to buffer any of these chemicals coming into your body, and it might really disrupt your endocrine system. Right. So there is huge potential negatives with being clean.
Mhm.
Now let's bring it to the other point that I wanted to make is, can you be too healthy? No, I don't think you could be too healthy. That's the thing. People focus only on cleaning. And that's why I really do believe in a method, I kind of termed clean and restore. You clean your body so that it doesn't have so much
Gunk and
fat.
junk.
You don't have this bloated gut full of putrefying whatever. You don't have mold in your house. You don't smoke cigarettes. You detox off alcohol, right? So we have a cleaner system,
Mhm.
but you need building blocks. You need more food. You need enough minerals. You need fats. You need proteins. You need
Right.
carbs. You need sleep. I don't think you can be too healthy, because a healthy person is going to be exposed to an air freshener and be like, oh, that's gross. I don't want that near me. Not
Yeah.
it ruins your whole week. Does that make sense? I think that
Yeah.
that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, totally. No, I think that that's great perspectives. And I mean, I totally agree with you. Even myself, like, I don't want to be like crazy clean. I definitely want to be, I know this might sound crazy, but I want to be tolerant of what's out there. I want to be able to handle and not just like
Right.
sneeze or cough or whatever with all the stuff.
You want
that's
to be
out there.
strong enough to handle it and eliminate it from your system.
Yeah, right. So, but this actually, I think, is a great segue into talking about the positives and negatives of a juice fast, because I mean, we like talked about it a little bit, but do you want to talk about that now? I think this is a great place to do that.
I'm actually reminded of our friend Dave Windsor. Is that his name?
Yeah.
And he was talking at Woodstock, I think in 2019, about how people don't even know how to eat. They don't know anything about eating good, but they're just going to jump on this 120-day juice fast.
Yeah,
and they have no idea what they're getting
Right.
into. They don't know about the snapback, the rebound effect. Are they purging enough? Are they purging too little? Like, there's so many potential issues. And I really think it's something that needs to be talked about with an open mind.
Yeah.
Because we're not damning juice feasting,
Mhm.
but we are, bringing up this because people get themselves into tough spots. I did. I know I did.
I mean, I'd say I did as well.
And it's important because, people can understand how to juice, but do they know how to eat?
Right.
Do they know how to organize food? Do they know how to supply themselves with enough?
Right.
I would say no.
Well, I've said it
Most of the
before. I mean, it's easier to not eat than it is to eat, like, consistently and sustainably on a day-to-day basis, because
I kind of wish we were breatharians, so I don't have to fucking think about food anymore.
Yeah, right. it'd be easier, right? But still, it's like, it is almost easier as being like, oh, go on a juice fast. How do you do it? Drink juice. Easy enough, right? Well, what kind of juice?
Before the podcast, we talked about this very thing, and you were like, we were talking about John Rose's lecture on how to juice feast, and I'm like, you make juice and you drink it. Like, that is literally like 95% of the info on how to do it.
Right.
But I was just being a smartass.
Yeah, no, I loved it. So yeah, like the positives and negatives. Let's start with the positives. And honestly, I don't even want to say it's negatives. I don't even want to say that. Like, if anything, I just think it's potential issues that you could see.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Like, I don't even want to say it's a negative. It's just like, it could just be a drawback of it all, So, the positives of a juice fast: you fucking smell amazing. You smell great.
Yeah, you have no body odor.
Yeah, you legit have no body odor. You could fucking sweat and then you can work out and you'll smell like an angel. You really will. And your poops won't smell unless like you're that backed up and you have that much feces inside of you. Like, maybe they might smell like old fecal matter that everyone talks about. Like, that could probably smell. I'm sure the breath's great too. I'm sure your breath doesn't smell. So that's definitely a positive.
I don't know if it wouldn't smell for every person. I know at the beginning it didn't for me, but as it went on, it started to. And I don't know if that's because it released more stuff. And then all of a sudden it cleansed completely and it felt like I didn't have to brush my teeth. And it's kind of like wishy-washy, but generally you're going to have definitely a cleaner mouth.
Right. Well, it's funny because I think people will say that, when you are fruit fasting or juice fasting, you should stink because now you're like releasing all this stuff that was inside of you. But me, that didn't happen. I smelled great. So yeah, so that's definitely one. Another one for me, at least, the clear skin. I mean, my skin was flawless, like I was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I look good now, but I mean, I looked good back then too. So I don't want to
Yeah.
be like, oh, like I looked way better on my juice fast. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I would say
Really
for
don't.
me the sleep was definitely improved because I know I'm someone who's a bit more challenged with sleep.
Yeah.
But when you're not eating, you have no reason to stay up.
Mhm.
You're just like, I guess I'll go to bed because nothing's really that entertaining. So it's like you know you're going to be getting probably better sleep
Right.
if you're drinking enough juice.
Right. Um, that's great. Also, another positive I think too is like, so the way that I kind of see the body in like inside the body, and if you really do have that much fecal matter inside of you, and it's like just holding on to you, like I can just see it like being clenched up inside of your body, and it's like real tight and like I don't know. I just like, do you get what I'm saying or no? Is that
I get what you're saying, but I don't know why you're saying it.
oh, because I'm talking about the positive. So it's like
Right.
if you go on a juice fast, there's a good chance that that's going to come out of you, and it is
Right.
free. It is freeing. It's freeing of that,
Yeah.
and
So like having some kind of stagnation there, right? If you're putting food on, potentially the food moves it through, but also it can come to a point where it's just too much. So if you're literally just putting liquids in, it's not going to back more up.
Mhm.
It might actually knock some of it loose, which I'm think is the point you're making.
yeah, right. But like, I just like people are anxious. You know, people will have whatever kind of maybe like sensitivity issues, like we were talking about. No, I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to I'm just kind of like trying to put it all together because like I just see that being stuck in there, like causing other issues. And then once you release it, it's like it's just freeing. You know,
Right.
you like how you said you feel better. And I'm sure we all can say after you take a nice big dump, it feels good, doesn't it? Does it not feel good? Yeah, it feels
It doesn't
great.
feel good to have it in you.
Yeah, right. But actually, this kind of conversation here leads me into what I want to say after the fact. And it's just kind of like, is it even natural to juice fast? You know, is it how it's supposed to be? You know, so I kind of want to ask that, get to that after the negatives or the drawback part.
Right.
But anyways, I'll kind of just leave that point alone. Maybe it did make sense for people. Maybe maybe it does.
No, I get your point. It's like you're taking a very you're taking a pressure off an area that is getting a lot of your body's attention in terms of its stress load. So it's like you relieve that, it's like, whoa, everything can kind of chill out now. Is that essentially what you mean?
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And I just think that some of the benefits are, if we really are a pressure-based system, this was in the mucusless healing diet by what's his name? Arnold Ehret.
Yeah.
He says that the body's a pressure-based system where it's like your heart and lungs work in conjunction, where one's like putting pressure on the other, and that's how they work. Or you have your vascular system, or your lymph system, or your bowel system, or your kidneys. And I do think that it lets your system kind of decompress from all of this pressure built up. I mean, if you just keep stuffing yourself and you keep dehydrating yourself, you're going to notice your blood pressure is up, kidneys starting to hurt, you're bloated, you're backed up. I mean, that's pressure, right? So if we're doing the opposite of that, we're giving some time without things, I think we get to take pressure off our brain, take pressure off our organs, you know, potentially rest a little more. And that's definitely a positive thing.
Totally.
High blood pressure is not good.
Totally. Like I could, like I used to have asthma. I don't really have it anymore. It's essentially gone. And I think you could argue that the juice fasting did help that, you know, because like we were saying here, I mean, I could have so much pressure or so much buildup in my gut or in my intestines or whatever that like I was having trouble breathing. Like that's, in my opinion, that's actually a thing.
No, I definitely think it is, especially because you're pushing on your diaphragm.
Right.
Your transverse colon is backed up. But we're also flooding ourselves with nutrients, right? Vitamins, minerals, if we're doing fruits and green juices.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe you're using other things to assist, but a lot of people, they're never eating vegetables and never eating fruits. So all of a sudden you're supercharging yourself with lots of living water, electrolytes, hydration, all these
Right.
types of things.
And I think you can say that. I think you can say that it's easier for your body to absorb those nutrients, because like you drink it, it just goes right into your bloodstream. So like for someone who is sick, like drinking juice would be a great idea. Even if it's not a juice fast, but like just getting that juice inside of you, it's much easier for your body to get those nutrients, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and you can also get more because you're extracting it. So instead of getting all this fiber that comes with it, maybe it's antagonizing some of that backed up fecal matter by getting caught, all the fiber. Instead, you're just flooding yourself with this. So yeah, I think the positives we kind of covered. If there's anything else, then we could jump into the negatives.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah,
all right, the negatives. Let's get into it.
The drawbacks.
No sex drive.
If you go to juice fast, you're not gonna want to have any sex at all.
Especially if you're doing fruit. All right. If I do green juice, I'm golden. If I do fruit juice, I'm screwed. I might as well be asexual.
You're just crazy, dude. Like you're just insane. You're just one of a kind.
Well, here's the thing. I was talking with DTM about this, and him and I were on the phone talking about the different, like kind of eating well and like the sexual aspect of it, because especially if you're doing a juice fast, you're water fasting, if you spill that seed, to be as politically correct as I could be or not vulgar, it's so hard to maintain caring about continuing the juice feast. Like it kind of goes hand in hand. You're giving into a pleasure, you're going to give into the other pleasure. Whereas if you're reserving yourself and being a saint, right, it's easier to maintain these normal levels of dopamine and all these hormones going on. Right. But I think that you're in such a state where you need to be focusing, in my opinion, on resting. And if you're doing that act of, if you're having sex or releasing in some way, that takes a lot of stress on the body. Yes, it's a positive stress, but if you ever seen the show House, they talked about in an episode how stressful it is on all of your system to do it. And the only reason we do it is because it feels good. But if we didn't feel good, we would never do it because it's so taxing, right? Yeah. So I think that's a huge downside. I don't think if you're juice feasting, you really should be having that much. I mean, if you feel great and you want to do it, that's awesome. But for me, especially on fruits, I think it's the minerals. I had none. I was just like, what's a girl? I can't tell.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny because I remember I'm juicing and my dad's like, MP, are you gonna like talk to a girl, or are you gonna hang out with a girl? Like what's going on here? And I'm like, nope, I don't even care to have sex. I really don't. I just like it just like totally all went out the window.
Right. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool in the sense that like you get to see how that is, where you kind of hyper pay attention to everything. I think that's a benefit. Right. Just going back to the benefits for one sec, I did want to say that becoming really sensitive is cool to experience. I don't think it's cool to live in like hypersensitivity, but it is cool to experience because you get to really get a feel for shitty people, shitty food, shitty environments, and you become a lot less tolerant. So I think that's a positive thing, but only in the short term.
Right.
But going back to the other side, the negatives, it's shitty, right? It's shitty to have someone yell at you and you can't let it go. You're shooken up and you can't let it go, and you can't sleep, and you're complaining and you're crying. And I mean, I was a complete wreck personally. So that sensitivity only takes you so far. Dude, if you're only in the purest environment with the nicest people and you earn money in a way that feels really, it feels great and never stressful, that's awesome. But how many of us get to live that way? Not many.
No, not many.
It's good to be able to handle stress.
100%. I mean, there's definitely there's definitely good stress that we need to put on ourselves, Right.
Well, I don't even mean good stress. I mean, any stress, like we should be able to handle it.
Right. We can't just think that we're living in some fairy tale world where everything is sunshine and rainbows when it's not, like we got to be able to take on some of that burden. We got to be able to handle it, just like you're saying. So,
right.
Yeah. So an issue that I noticed after juice fasting was I was so bloated. Like
during the juice fast,
after the juice fast, like I started eating again and refeeding and whatnot. And I couldn't even, like, I was just so bloated. I'm like, what's going on here? And I was still intermittent fasting too.
Do you think that are we finished with the negatives? I think we should talk about the negatives while you're juice fasting, and then we'll go into refeeding and the problems there.
Okay. Negatives while juice fasting, no energy.
Airy fairy space cadet.
Yeah. Like for me, I just didn't have any motivation for life whatsoever.
Only focusing on food.
Yeah.
Like that's all you care about. People carry in a pizza and you're like, oh my God, I wish I could eat that. Right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, okay. I also want to mention, like I said before, I had energy. I felt good, but I didn't have energy to like do anything. You know, like,
right.
Yeah, I could fucking go pick this up, or I could go.
You were limited. Yeah.
Yeah. But you saw what I was drinking. I was drinking enough juice, but especially on the second one. The first one I might not have been, but the second one, yes.
But I do hear of people saying they have more energy than ever, that they're not slowed down at all. If anything, it's enhanced. Just have not experienced that. So if that's you, awesome.
Right. Yeah, more power.
These
more
are
power
our
to
negatives.
You. Yeah, right. Anything else with the negatives?
Yeah. Let me think for a second.
Loss of muscle.
Loss of muscle mass.
Like you might lose fat, but I think there's a good chance that you'll probably lose some muscle along the way too.
Even though there was good sleep that came with it, I definitely had my fair share of sleeplessness, or waking up really early and not getting back to sleep.
Yeah.
That wasn't really that fun. Chronic urination, that was my biggest frustration. I'd piss 30 times a day. All that fruit sugar was just, if I drink the cucumber juice, I'm like barely pissing, but and it's the same amount. But if I drink fruit juice, it's like all the time, just chronic urine.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really messed up, bro.
And you really mess up your electrolytes even more, because it takes your own electrolytes to process that sugar out. And yeah, it's a mess. Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get into refeeding.
Yeah, totally.
I do think that I do want to touch on as much as you wanted this, but I think that could be, again, a whole nother episode.
Oh,
it's a very important topic.
And I think we're like already over an hour.
Cool.
Talking, which is totally cool. But I'm even thinking like, damn, we could just keep going with this topic. It could just be forever.
Yeah, we can always do it again too.
Yeah.
Especially if people like it and find it interesting.
Right. No, with refeeding, I mean, typical. I did it. Actually, the first one I did John Rose style. The second one I did watermelon.
Which one did you like better?
The watermelon, for sure.
So much better.
Yeah, but like I think what they say is that, so like if I'm juice fasting for 30 days, then you need at least 2 weeks to recover from that juice fast. See, it's like anything else. You know, you work out, you got to recover. You party on the weekends, bro, you got to recover. I just don't understand how people just keep partying and all this kind of stuff. And they just like keep going, they keep drinking. It's just like, dude, I don't understand it.
Well, again, I think it depends on the type of juice fast, because I think that if you're doing, let's say you're doing a gallon of juice or whatever, and you're doing lemon ginger blast, or you're doing some more of these like green type ones, I think that your recovery is way faster, in my opinion. You're going to be able to break quicker and have more food quicker. If you do juice, it's going to be, like you said, a few weeks or whatever, if you do 30 days. But if you do the master fast, like, it's so funny when people say how powerful certain things are. The master fast is by far not even close by any second. It is the most powerful. It is the purging of your life. Okay. No one's experienced anything unless you've done the master fast. That doesn't mean that it's better. It just means that it is powerful. And actually their recommendation is if you juice fast for 30 days, you want to refeed for 60 days. You don't do 2 weeks, because your system has become so sensitized that you are literally noticing every little morsel of food that you're putting in.
Wow.
And with that, it becomes that much harder to refeed because you are so hungry. Because master fast is really, really powerful at cleaning you out, but it's not really nourishing you, in my opinion. Yes, you're getting some sugars, but you're not getting what you would be if you were doing fresh juices and fresh vegetable juices and stuff, because then you're still getting some of that living nutrition, or whatever you want to call it, some vitamins and minerals. It's not just pasteurized stuff, right?
Right.
So you really have to take it with what you've done as far as the refeeding goes. And I think that most of the time refeeding is going to be really, really an unfortunate experience. I mean, I seen it the other day. I'm in a couple vegan groups, and someone said they were vegan for years. They were juice fasting for, I think, or raw for the last 7 months. They were juice fasting for a couple weeks, and then they broke and ate meat within the first couple days. And they're like, I haven't been eating meat in so long, or in years. And that's the thing. We're really getting into a territory where we're not familiar with. You may think it's going to be, I feel good,
Yeah.
I'm juice fasting, but that snapback is real. The microbiome has changed. Your needs have changed. If you've gone to a point where you're so depleted, your body it burned through a lot of fat reserves. It's not going to be easy to stay on fruit for a couple of weeks, to be gentle really on your system. You're going to want to eat everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just be honest, dude. How many times have you seen it where these big vegan influencers, they do some kind of fast, whatever kind of fast it is, juice fast, water fast, and then they're eating meat within like 60 days. I mean, we've seen it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And most people who leave veganism, like, they probably have done some sort of long extended fast, or they have been restrictive in some sort of way.
And I think it's also like that they're burning these reserves that they were used to. We talk about MP&I, we talk about how some of these bodybuilders are eating fruit and they're like, look how shredded I am, look at my muscle. But it's like they built it on regular food or a meat-based diet or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think this is something similar. A lot of people are coming into a juice fast and they've grew up in a certain way, and now they're like gung-ho about cleaning out, and they don't realize that they're burning through all these reserves that they had. Mm-hmm. And whether it's because they had essential fats or they had, the buildup of minerals. I mean, it's hard. We can't say, like we said earlier,
right?
But it's definitely an important factor. When you kind of get to that degree, if you really know what you're doing and you really are confident and comfortable and you know how to clean and restore, rebuild your system, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But if you are just 22 and you feel pretty good, but you want to lose some weight, this is the worst decision that you can make.
I agree, AJ. I agree. There's definitely much more sustainable ways out there to lose weight than the juice fast. Totally.
And if you eat food like our previous guest, Josh, every time you eat, you feel really bad. Maybe it's good to spend some time on some water or some juice, because you're listening to your feedback system. Your cost benefit analysis is, hey, if I don't do this, I'm not in agony. Yeah. But we also have to flip that around. If we feel pretty good, we should learn how to eat better. We should learn how to address these things that don't have negative consequences. But if you're overall pretty good and you jump on some crazy thing just because someone said this is the only way, they don't know what your system's going through. You might have taken in so much toxins, right? But you have such a strong system that 90% of it, your body is just pushed out. And if you just ate well, you would get all the results you actually wanted.
Right. Wow. But I feel like people don't even know that, though. Like, they just don't.
They don't. Yeah.
They don't understand.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. That's why I'm so impressed with you, AJ, because you can just fucking nitpick a situation and put the puzzle pieces in and boom. Take it away, baby. Take it away.
So I also drive people crazy. It's like, hey, what about that? Hyper conscientiousness coming.
Right. So anyways, before AJ went off there and had a lot of amazing statements, what I was saying is that it's like juice fasting is like anything else. You gotta rest and recover from it. So ideally, obviously, like, fruit's probably the best to recover, to do it, to eat that for a couple of days and then eat some salads and stuff. But I think the one guy, was it a guy who like juice fasted and ate baked potatoes and died or something? Did you hear about that? Dr. Morris always talks about it. I don't know if that's true.
Morris and a few people talk about how like so much mucus and toxins are stirred up that if you just ate potatoes, that it could kind of like, the idea is you put the watermelon in and it's hydrating and easy on the system enough that it kind of starts to push some of that excess stuff out of your GI tract.
Yeah.
So it's not getting like trapped, but you put that in, you put some dry dates in, you potentially have an issue there. I actually think that's an amazing question for when we have Alan Goldhammer on the podcast, because he probably knows exactly what is going on and not just some theory.
I love that. Can't wait to have him on. Anyways, refeeding, anything else with refeeding?
It's very, very difficult. I think that if you're, I think the best plan, if I were to do it, let's say I was forced to do a 90-day juice fast. It's clearly you have a sensitive system now. If you did it that long, right? You can't just do it willy nilly. I think what I would do is continue to juice as much as I want it and have a meal at the end of the day for a certain amount of time, and then still do as much juice as I want it and then have 2 meals. Because if you just try to do it by meals afterwards, like John Rose says to do, oh my God, I can't imagine being able to do that. I mean, you're going to have watermelon in the morning and you're going to have chicken and French fries by the time you have lunch. You're just going to be so hungry. But if you're still in that mode where you're drinking juice, you're not triggering that same metabolism. And I think that you potentially could avoid some of the issues. But guys, it's no joke. That's why before I ever master fasted, I was following a protocol that was like fruit-based and stuff. And I was waiting until I was feeling healthier and healthier. And I got to a point where I'm like, okay, now I'm going to experiment 1 day a month and do that to give my system the break. And if you really can kind of work with yourself, the point is to feel better and to get better. And it doesn't always mean the big crazy thing. Sometimes it's just that easy implemented stuff. So I think that that's a better approach, unless you feel as though it's your calling and it's what's necessary for you.
Right.
But generally, what I was going to say is it's just really difficult to refeed unless you've done it. And like DTM has done so many 40-day water fast, 21-day water fast, juice fast, 100-day juice. Like, I trust that when he breaks, he's going to be able to refeed himself. I mean, he put on 50 pounds in 50 days or something after his 40-day water fast.
It's crazy.
And he was still eating raw, but majority of the people, Durian Rider talks about this all the time. People would fast at Doug Graham's clinic, and then when Doug would leave, they'd go and get chicken and pizza and things by day 5 after breaking, because you're really hungry.
You're starving.
As much willpower as you think you have, sometimes it's not enough.
Well, I mean, think about it. We have a digestive system for a reason. I know the breatharians and the liquidarians might not think that, but I mean, it's there. And it's funny because people will be like, oh, I'm going on a juice fast to give my body a rest, to give my digestive system a break. Dude, your digestive system is still working even when you have juice coming in. Your body's still functioning. It's still going to be working no matter what. You're still going to be using all parts of your body no matter what, even if you think you're resting it or not. That's just how it works.
Right.
But yeah, DTM is so impressive. Really is impressive. He knows himself so well. That's for sure. But I mean, it seems like he's done a lot of trial and error, just kind of like how John Rose, he's done so much trial and error with his own body. I mean,
and I think that's the best way for success. A lot of us just take this cookie cutter thing and try to apply it to us. It's what we're mentioning with Eli. You know, these people like John Rose or whoever, Dan McDonald, Tavis, they all have their own way that they figured out for themselves. Yes, they had teachers and they had things, but they took their own selves into account. And we got to take ourselves into account. We're individuals, guys. Yes, we're all human species. Totally. Yes, we're all more similar than we're not. And I got this message on the Eli one. Yes, we're all humans. We all have the same whatever, but we have different circumstances. We have different histories. Okay. These are different financial implications going on here. We have to we have to be gentle with ourselves. People talk about love and kindness, but then they force themselves to do 30 enemas a day for 3 years. It's like, all right, look at what's his name?
Matt Monarch.
He got his colon removed and he was the enema king. It's like, gotta take these things with a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. And if you can feel that it's not working, work the other way.
Right. Totally.
Okay, what's the next thing? Let's get in.
Yeah. Let's do the next one.
And we'll probably start wrapping it up.
Yeah. I think this could be potentially the last question here.
Cool.
But it's something that I really want to bring it up, and I think it's really important. And it's like, should we do seasonal fasting? Like, should we do a juice fast or water fast like every 3 months? You know, or should we?
MP, it must be a full moon, because I'm thinking the same things you're always thinking. It's like we're in sync.
It must be. Wait, isn't it Aquarius season?
No, it's Cancer ascending.
Oh. But yeah, so I really wanted to talk about that with you. this with you, and I have my thoughts. If you want to start or I can start, it's totally up to you.
You can start. I've been rambling for a while.
Okay, cool. So I will start, and I'll give my thoughts on like if we should be doing seasonal fast or whatnot. So I think it's really weird because people want to go back to our natural state, our natural diet, how we were living back in the BC days or back in the 1200s or whatnot. And the thing is that this is 2021. It's going to be, it might be 2022 when you're listening to this, maybe 2023 if you're backlogging your podcast episodes and so on and so forth. This isn't,
I want to say hi to my future wife.
Yeah.
The only reason I started this fucking thing.
No matter how natural people want to live, I mean, we're clearly not in a natural habitat whatsoever. We have these skyscraping buildings. We have garbage trucks everywhere. We have all these 5G towers. No, I'm kidding. I don't really believe that. They're killing all the birds. But I mean, we have so many cars. How about that? Like, remember during the pandemic when everything was shut down and people would post these pictures of their cities? Like people in LA would say, "Oh my gosh, look at how clear this is. Yeah. Everyone's at home. No one's driving. Like it's like, look at that.
Eyes were so blue.
Yeah. Right. Look at that. So, I mean, it's incredulous. It's incredible what can happen when you don't drive cars, and I mean, I drive a car. It just is what it is.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, you're probably right. So anyways, my point of all this is that we are not at all living in a natural habitat. We're not living in natural times. And I don't want to say that that's like an excuse for us to juice fast or do like a 3-day juice fast or do like a seasonal fast. But I think it's definitely an excuse to drink more juice just because I think that the juice can be, it's just, I mean, just in general, it's so beneficial. Like I was saying earlier, I believe it to be so much easier for our body to absorb, especially if you are drinking the green juice, the celery juice, the cucumber juice, whatever, your body loves that stuff. Your body wants those minerals. Your body wants those vitamins from the green juice. It's so important. And I mean, honestly, you're only going to notice better. I mean, you might notice some consequences, but I feel like you're going to notice a lot more benefits than consequences of drinking green juice. Mm-hmm. Now the fruit juice obviously can be a little trickier. So, we live in these times where people are going out drinking and partying. That's not natural at all. It's not natural to stay up till 4 a.m. like I did a couple nights ago, 9 days ago, whatever it was. It's not natural to stay up till 2 a.m. Like your body wants to be rested. Your body wants to go to bed on time, and your body wants to heal every single day. And that's like really where the healing and recovery comes from, is the sleep. And so like we live these lives where we put ourselves out of these natural situations. We make it unnatural for us. So then you could also say that we should be doing something that's unnatural to get us out of it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you could argue that juicing isn't quote unquote natural, but I mean, people could say that, like chimpanzees used to get oranges and they used to get the juice and throw the fiber out, I mean, you can believe that. But you don't have a juicer in the forest. You don't have electricity in the forest. You want to go live this natural life. Like you don't have any of that. You're going to have electricity, you're going to have gas, you're going to have all this stuff. So here we actually, instead of looking at from like it's not natural. If anything, let's just look at it like we have all these tools that we can use to better our health. Like might as well use them. And for some people, it might not be sustainable, because I always like to look at it from like a sustainability perspective. Like, is it sustainable to drink juice every day? It's sustainable to do this, to do that. And I think if like you really want it bad enough, you can make it sustainable. And if it makes you feel that good, you can even make it more sustainable. But yeah, so so I kind of lost track there, but oh yeah. Now doing like seasonal juice fasting, personally, I don't want to do that myself. Now, I think we can all benefit from it. Like I was to back up my points, because we live in this unnatural world where we're doing unnatural stuff to our bodies, and our bodies need to rest and recover. And I think the juice can definitely help us do that. 100%. I do believe that. But
Right.
I don't think that like you have to just do like a seasonal fast, or you have to do 6-day juice fast to recover from drinking this weekend. No, I don't think you have to do that whatsoever. I think just in general, if you just incorporate more juice into your life, even if it's 2 days a week, if it's 3 days a week, if it's 4, whatever, I think that that alone is going to have a benefit, rather than just like sticking to these standards of, oh yes, oh it's July 17th. That means that I'm fasting today, even when your body does not want to juice fast. I'm fasting. No, like it's not that. That's not the case. So, I think the point is clear.
Yeah,
of
great
what I'm
point.
making here. But yeah, so to answer my own question, no, I would say that like you don't have to like do seasonal fasting. You don't have to like do a reset. I think you can just like along the way just incorporate more juice in your life. And hey, you know what? Maybe for some people, if they want to think that they have to do a reset, cool, they can do that. Maybe you need it. But yeah.
Well, I think it might feel more necessary for the people who live really, really shitty most of the time. So I think one of the ways you can downplay that need, if you believe that is a need, is to eat well in between, so that you don't really feel like you have to juice fast.
Right.
If your bowels work great and you wake up rested,
Mhm.
you're not going to feel like you have to do it, right?
Right.
But if you're
Right.
up all night every night, and you're eating French fries every night, and you are constipated 3 out of the 7 days a week, you're going to probably convince yourself you need to fast more often.
Right.
The key, I think, is to just have your system be supported. There's a time for cleansing, but there's a time for being nourished so that your body's functions can work properly. This is the reason why we don't starve children, because they need to grow up healthy. If it was, only if cleansing was the only way, then we would feed them nourishing foods. We wouldn't feed them fat and protein. Hey, we're adults. We're not growing anymore. I know everyone wants to say that. They love to say, oh, I have enough fat on my body. Well, it's because you're eating unhealthy foods. You're not moving your body. You're just state of stress. Your cortisol is high. We have to take these things. We don't have to take these things literally, right? Your body still needs protein. Protein and fats are essential. Carbs are going to be your calories, and offer vitamins and minerals. So being nourished is really a superpower, because it lets you handle your day-to-day life. The better nourished you are, the better you can fast if you want to fast, right? But how many people are already so depleted and they're still trying to cleanse more and more? And some people have to. I think I've talked with people who are deathly ill, skin and bones, and the fasting is what allowed them to finally feel good enough to eat enough food. So it's going to be different in every case. But the bottom line is nourishment is good.
Totally.
Now, being obese and feeling like shit is not good. So it doesn't mean just stuff your face every single second.
Right.
I hope this isn't confusing to you guys. It's very, when you've lived in this world for as long as we have, this vegan and raw vegan world, you kind of see the same things over and over. You see the people who restrict snapback the most, or you see the people who promote eating millions of calories every single day come to a point where they have to shift things. It's about eating enough, but not just flooding your system all the time.
Actually, AJ, I disagree. I actually hope it is confusing for them. I hope it's confusing for them so that they ask us questions so that we can interact.
Yeah, so leave a comment down below if you're curious about learning more.
No, but seriously, like
I think
what's up?
No, you're good.
No, I was just saying, like, we want to hear your experiences. We want to hear like what you have to say, because this is such an important topic, especially like in the raw vegan world where people are really like hurting themselves by doing something like this. Yes, of course, people are seeing great benefits as well. We're not like, we don't want to just totally put that out the window, but there's just potential consequences. And like we discussed a lot of that. So yeah.
I think it's important to have this just, be able to be vulnerable with the problems, because if we don't address the problems, how can we navigate them as problems? Right.
Right. Yeah, totally. Cool. AJ, is there anything else you wanted to get into, or should we start wrapping it up?
I think this is one of my favorites. I love talking about this.
Every episode is your favorite episode.
It's a fun show.
It's great. I love it.
No, I had a great time.
Yeah, I had an awesome time too. We hope you guys did as well. So final thoughts, AJ?
Stay hungry.
Stay hungry. Cool. Well, actually, I have some final thoughts that I'm gonna say. I was just gonna say that.
Oh wait, were you waiting for me to ask you?
No, not really.
I'm used to you doing it and then asking me, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
shit, I should have asked him. Such a
Right.
terrible co-host.
Oh, you're horrible. I should go get someone else.
So undercarb.
I should go get Megan. The hangry people.
Oh, she's gonna love that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, just kidding. Anyways, so just the overall message that AJ and I want to give to you today is that there's a time and a place. There's a time, there's a time and place for everything, but if you do go on a juice fast, ensure you're getting all your vitamins and minerals, ensure you're doing a variety of juices, ensure you are drinking enough juice. Write down your experiences, take note of it, learn for yourself, learn your body. It's serious. It's a serious matter. Make sure you refeed properly, make sure you recover, all that stuff. Like we're not demonizing juice fasting at all. We know that this is it's a powerful healing tool for the body. It really is. And a lot of people don't know about it. A lot of people don't. They really don't. But it really can be so powerful and so healing. And I mean, there's so many stories out there of people doing juice fasting, and they see like it's just changed their lives. Their lives are enhanced. Everything's better. They can breathe now. They can smell now. They can see better, whatever,
Heart issues, cancer issues. Things.
Yeah, totally. So definitely. We just want to caution you that there's the potential for issues. You might heal this, but then you could also get this along the way. And then you got to fix that again by doing this, like it might not happen, but it's probably going to happen. So, we're definitely just cautioning you guys for that. That's the overall message for this juice fasting, juice feasting, whatever you want to call it. Heck, I just juice fast the other day. Like I said, I did a 1-day juice fast, time and place. So,
and I want to say that usually the answers that we're seeking are simpler than we think they have to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2-3 days is enough to get you to where you want to be. And it doesn't have to be 200 days. Right. So sometimes even those answers are simpler. Yeah. And the other thing is I forgot to mention, and I would recommend, is for people, once they have gone through the initial refeeding process, to really give more clout to fat and protein. A lot of people, especially in raw veganism, are going to mainly only focus on carbs, only on fruit, or only on lentils. I would really focus on or rice or whatever. Focus on some of the things like really really rich fat sources, avocados, coconut yogurts, making these things. What else is there? I think the Paradigm protein, just having some of those building blocks to build up your system a little bit more in a concentrated form. Because if you're vegan, you're probably not going to be using these things that it would be easy to do. Like if you were eating meat, you might have some potential issues with that as well. But at the same time, it is calorie dense. It is absorbable. So if we're vegans, we want to focus on being able to give our body what it needs, and trying to build muscle on fruit after you've fasted. You're in for a world of disappointment.
100%.
Also recognize if you're if you're generally a neurotic or unstable person, if you're more of an anxious, nervous person, juice feasting is going to highlight that even more. So if you're a stable person, you're probably going to be like smooth sailing. If you're pretty emotional, you're probably going to have a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and be ready for that and take note of that as well. But I think that I'm good. MP, if you want anything else in closing,
I'm great. I'm great.
Great
job, AJ. Great job. Well said.
Ditto.
Yeah, that's about it. Anyways, guys, always stay up, be great, and always keep it HUNNIT.
Drink juice, eat food, and stay hungry.